Rams fans, welcome in on this edition of Rams Showcase. The Rams back on top of the NFC, plus first round bye or a road game to start the playoffs. It is all on the table for LA, and later, a visit from a growing rivalry preview, Lions at Rams. Let's rock.
We here, man. We gotta take advantage of victory on one. Let's go. Yeah!
This is Rams Showcase. And now your host, Sheriff Joe Bags.
Yes, welcome to it, Rams Showcase. My name's Sheriff Joe Bags. Shout out Willy Will helping me out on the intro there. Socials, no matter where you hear or see me below. Speaking of socials, at Rams Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Bags. That's where you follow along on your favorite social media. Also, RamsShowcase.com. Check us out there. We have a big old football game going on this weekend. Detroit Lions coming to town. The Detroit Lions have defeated the Rams the last two times that they have clashed, but something tells me this one might be a little bit different. We'll have to see how it goes. We'll get into that game preview here shortly. We also got a bunch of good fan quesos on the back end, so we'll be dealing with that. But first, let's talk about some news here, and then in just a few minutes, we'll be talking about this playoff picture, the NFC version of it. We don't really care about the AFC. We won't even see them until, Santa Clara anyway, so what does it even matter? You know what I'm saying? But if just for some news for you, nothing super crazy here. The Rams did waive outside linebacker Nick Hampton. He was added back onto the practice squad exception for Nick Hampton, which honestly did surprise me a little bit. Nick Hampton's been playing very, very well, but I do think that this has something, it's not completely unrelated to Josiah Stewart, who is a rookie and unbelievable. I can't believe the Rams seemingly found another edge rusher via the draft that is just absolute chaos and in the best possible ways. So fired up about it, dude, as Nick Hampton, it's like I said, practice squad, but Josiah Stewart, man, we got pass rushers for days, dude. Sorry about your quarterbacks, everybody. I know the Rams don't lead the league in sacks and all that stuff, but that's still so scary, man. You see BY and Jared Verse staring at you when you're trying to snap the ball, and that's just on the edge. Then you deal with Kobe and Braden and Tuna and Cam Curl coming off the edge and stuff. Man, you got everybody to worry about, man. But Nick Hampton, certainly sticking around as far as Rams go, but as far as how much action he'll be getting for the rest of the season, hard to tell. Rams do have, like I said, plenty of pass rushers, though. Nick Hampton, though, I do anticipate that he'll still be in the fold and be around next year and all that good stuff. Some news in some former Rams worlds for you. We'll start with the very unfortunate news for the Indianapolis Colts, which is that quarterback Brett Rippon has been signed to the active roster. Our thoughts are with the city of Indianapolis and all the Colts fans with this news. Former Rams running back Cody Schrader claimed off waivers by the Houston Texans, so it looks like he could be going to the playoffs here. He was waived by the Jags, and they're technically sitting in a playoff spot right now, so either way. Former Rams safety Jordan Fuller waived by the Atlanta Falcons. He is eyeing free agency right now. I'm not sure. I think he cleared waivers today, if I'm not mistaken, but got the Fuller jersey up. It's faced that way because I'm just repping 4 at this point with the Rams, but you get it. Jordan Fuller, though, out there and available. And former Rams quarterback John Wolford, the Wolf, signed to the Vikings active roster as well. So a lot of former Rams backups getting some ops with under center in some chaotic situations. Speaking of the Indianapolis Colts, holy moly. We'll get not really into that, but we will touch on the chaos that is happening at the quarterback position for the Colts. Ooh, that's sick alliteration there, man. You usually got to put double for that kind of action. We'll be talking just briefly about that. And then, in Minnesota, turns out that having Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold on the roster last year wasn't quite so funny. And actually, it's funny now. It came back around. That's good stuff, man. But Kevin O'Connell out there, obviously, trying to whip noodles at the wall, seeing if one of them is going to stick. I don't think it's J.J. McCarthy. If you're just looking from my perspective, you didn't ask, but I'm offering that for you. That's free of charge. Next one, though. That first one's to get you hooked. Now you be coming to me for all your Vikings quarterback news. Now what? Let's take a look at the NFC playoff picture here as the Rams getting back into the number 1 seed. 10-3 record for the Rams can clinch a playoff berth with a win versus the Detroit Lions this Sunday, excuse me. Green Bay Packers sitting in the 2 seed now, creeping all the way up from a wild card spot. No clinching scenarios this week, but it will be hard for them to miss the playoffs at this point. They got to have some catastrophes happen for Packers to not be playing past Week 18. The Philadelphia Eagles have 5 scenarios where they lose a chance at the number 1 seed this week. That does include a scenario that includes the Rams winning, Seattle defeating the Colts, and the Raiders beating the Eagles, and they are out of contention for 1 seed. That is the simplest version. There is others that have like 5 or 6 different scenarios. That, though, the most basic of them. Number 4, Tampa Bay Buccaneers sitting in right now, likely to be eliminated from 2-seed contention this week, or at least it's certainly possible. They do face the Atlanta Falcons Thursday Night Football this week. And your wildcard teams right now, Seattle would be playing Tampa Bay. No elimination or clinching scenarios for the Seahawks this week. Very much in play for that top seed, though, as, again, they are taking on the Colts. And in 6 right now, San Fran, season ended today. They'd be taking on Philadelphia. Loss all but confines the Niners to a wild card spot, taking them out of NFC West contention. But they should be still making the playoffs this year. They will be taking on the Titans this week. And the Chicago Bears, number 1 seed last week, number 7 seed this week. That's how little this matters right now. I mean, things can change. It doesn't matter when you have number 1 as long as it's at the end, all right? That's when you want it, after Week 18. It doesn't matter if you hold it this entire time. Chicago in position to steal the 2 seed because they do still play in Green Bay against Green Bay again in Chicago. But a loss does put the Bears on the ropes fighting for a 7th seed. This week they are taking on the Cleveland Browns. It's crazy to think that the Browns absolutely could beat the Bears this week, and at that point Chicago is very much in a fight to try to make the 7th seed. That's kind of crazy, right? So last week we saw a situation where the Chicago Bears sit number 1 seed, and everyone's like, whoa, we're going into the end of November. I don't know, Otto from The Simpsons is always my voice to go to. But like, people are like, no, we're in the end of November, and the Bears are number 1 seed. And it's like, well, yeah, they are playing really good. Best turnover differential. They take the ball away from everybody all the time, it seems like, which is absolutely crazy. But there's also a scenario where like 2 weeks later, they could be like out of the playoff picture trying to fight to get in, because the Detroit Lions are right behind them as well, sitting just on the outside of the playoff picture. And the Green Bay Packers are obviously already now ahead of the Bears, and they have another game against them. So yeah, we could be seeing a situation where going into Week 14, we saw the Bears holding the number 1 seed in the NFC, and they could still miss the playoffs. I think all I'm trying to say here is that like we all freak out when the Rams drop to 2 or 3. And then it's like, oh no, what are we doing? And it's like, just give it a minute, dude. Just give it a minute. It's going to be okay. It's like Stafford loses the number 1 spot as far as being a favorite for MVP. That doesn't actually mean anything. That's just what the books think. I'm sure some people already have their vote. They're like, I don't even care if he throws 5 picks a game the rest of the season. He's the MVP. That guy's killing it. Some people have maybe already made up their mind. It doesn't matter what the Vegas odds say. That's not your race. Your race isn't to get the best odds by the end of the season, according to Vegas. Your race is to get as many of the voters, the 50 voters, to want you to get the award, and that's the biggest thing. So we saw it last week where Stafford threw the 2 interceptions against the Carolina Panthers. He slipped behind Drake May in the MVP odds, and everybody's like, it's over. Stafford's not going to win MVP. And it's like, well, hold on. They don't give it to the person who is just leading the Vegas odds on sports books heading into December. They don't care. They do it season-wide. So that's my little soapbox on that, I guess. But some notes here for you. The Rams win and clinch no worse than the 7th seed in the NFC. So you win this game against the Detroit Lions, or any game for the rest of the season. You win 1 game, and you can do no worse than the 7th seed. So 1 win, and the Rams are guaranteed to be playing in 2nd season, which fired up about. The Rams could still win a wild card spot if they do lose all 4 of their remaining games. I don't anticipate that would happen. Technically still a feasible option out there, although I would be surprised. Indy winning versus the Seahawks would be absolutely huge. Don't know what's going to go on as far as Indy and their quarterback situation right now, though. But right now with the Seahawks, we're matching wins with them. Being a game up on Seattle heading into the Week 16 TNF game would be absolutely huge, because having that win against them before doesn't really matter if they beat us next Thursday and they have more wins than us. Then the split doesn't matter, because we just need to get more wins than them. So we are very much against the Seattle Seahawks the rest of the way. It doesn't matter who you root for. That doesn't change the outcome of games, but just to kind of keep your eyeballs on some other stuff and know what you want to happen, even though it doesn't impact it. I feel like that's needed in today's football watching. I think it's mainly because of last week. Everybody was like, I don't know who to root for, Seattle or Atlanta. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not going to change the outcome of the game. It's not going to end and it's like, oh man, too bad Steve was going for the Seahawks because they won. If only he would have gone for Atlanta instead. If only he would have clapped for Atlanta in Colorado instead, they probably would have, you get it. Also, if the Titans beat the Niners, that certainly helps from a comfort standpoint as well. But although I'll say that the NFC West really does feel like a two-man race with LA and Seattle. I don't think San Fran's going to wiggle their way into that conversation. I think they're already too far down. And Bears winning this week doesn't really hurt the Rams, but the Bears losing does help. As far as like odds to get the number one seed, the Bears winning doesn't really change anything for our odds and stuff like that because we are technically ahead of them. But if the Bears lose, you basically are taking out a team that's competing for the number one seed. So our odds to get that improve. So we are anti-Packers. We are anti-Bears. We are always anti-Eagles and 49ers and Seahawks, but especially now. We're pro-Rams and bad everybody else. Everyone else sucks. All right, go Rams. That's it. I want the Rams to do well. I don't care what anybody else does. That's where my brain's at. But Vikings also eliminated from the playoffs. If they lose any more games the rest of the year, they need to lose just one more, and they are officially eliminated from the playoffs. Or the Bears beat the Browns, or the Lions beat the Rams. So the Minnesota Vikings are not mathematically eliminated from playoff contention, but they are emotionally eliminated from playoff contention. They cannot lose any more games. The Lions cannot win any more games, and the Bears cannot win any more games. And let's be real here. The Lions not going to win this week, I know that much. But chances that they lose their remaining 4, I would be surprised at myself. But yeah, no more losses for Minnesota, or they are donezos, dude. Cowboys elimination scenarios are right around the corner. Low odds to make the playoffs after that loss last week to the Detroit Lions on Thursday Night Football. That was kind of one of those situations where winner is in a decent spot to fight for the playoffs. Detroit is far from guaranteed to be playing in a playoff game. But the loser was pretty much like, you're not out. There is a path in, but it's not good. It's so not good that it's probably just go ahead and forget about the playoffs. How about you just start looking towards the draft, Dallas? That's kind of how it was. Like, hey, you got so many first-round picks anyway. Why don't you start peeking that way? No matter how good that offense is, it does look like they're going to be watching from the outside. Rams, Patriots, and Broncos are the only teams in the NFL with clinching scenarios this week. Rams, the only NFC team with a clinching scenario. The Patriots are the only division clinching scenario this week. And if the Patriots win, they clinch at least a 3 seed in the AFC. So they win, they can do no worse than the 3. So solid performance from Vrabel and the boys out in New England. That's absolutely crazy, man. To see like my roommate's a Patriots fan. We were talking about it, and it was like it's cool to see like the Belichick way done in a more modern fashion. And that's what I think that the Patriots are doing right now, which is very cool. It's like Mike Vrabel has like the brain to be the Belichick kind of like this. We want everything done right. Let's just do it right. Do what you need to do all that stuff. But then he's also out there dancing with his guys. You know what I mean? Like it is the perfect combination. They've got some magic brewing up there in New England. Not enough to defeat LA or anything like that, but they definitely got some magic brewing up there. And I do think that they're in a situation where the Rams are. We've got some older, gentle fellas in some positions, and I'm thinking like Stafford, Devontae, stuff like that. And then like Big Rob and all that. But then on the Patriots side, they've got a bunch of young guys as well. So they'll need to get some weaponry for Drake May. But as far as this season goes, and the reason I'm kind of talking about the Patriots a little bit here is the way that I think that this season goes is that there's at least going to be one voter out there who's going to say to himself, like he's going to be neck and neck with Drake May and Matthew Stafford. He's going to look at them, and he's going to look at their age and look at their projection. This is at least my hope in my brain, that there's at least some people out there that use critical thinking who are voters. I would hope so. They're going to look at these two guys and they're going to look at their outlook and their future and they're going to say, but, dude, Matthew Stafford's been doing it since '09, drafted number 1 overall out of Georgia to Detroit. Drake May coming in year 2, looks promising, has a good coach, all this stuff out there in New England. So does Stafford, obviously. But I think that there's going to be at least one voter who's going to give the nod to Stafford due to his age. I do think that Matthew Stafford wins MVP this year over Drake May, and I think at least somebody's going to come out and say, well, yeah, I wanted to vote Drake, but Matthew's about to retire, and Drake's probably going to win one later on in his career at some point. That's kind of where my head's at with it. We'll see how the performances go for these last for December, because also keep that in mind. I mean, Matthew Stafford's lost one December game as the Rams starting quarterback. Drake May, I don't know his records for December and stuff like that. AFC, it's way harder to pay attention to, but I would say that the December aspect of it, I think, is going to come into play, and it's important, man. It's absolutely important. And my list here, just 3 games here that I've got under the section that I titled Rootin' Tootin' High Flying Action. Rootin' Tootin' High Flying Action. Maybe that's my Colorado coming out a little bit, but just the 3 games, I'm going to start picking 3 games that matter to us the most in some capacity, or even if it's an emotional way. You know what I mean? So obviously, Lions at Rams, that's going to be number 1. Rams are always going to be in that, okay? But there's also going to be 2 other games that impact the Rams. And I'm going to start with Packers at Broncos, because that is one heck of a matchup. Just up the road from me here, Packers obviously fighting and trying to get a number 1 seed away from the Rams. Denver Broncos are no joke, though, sitting in the current number 1 seed in the AFC. So that's going to be one heck of a matchup. I'm really excited to see how that game unfolds. I'll have to watch it after, because it's at the same time as our game. But I'll be kind of keeping a little side eye on that one and kind of see what's going on, because we are certainly invested in that one. And my last one here is going to be Colts at Seahawks, and that's simply because we just need to have at least one more, just one more win. Just barely, man. Or we can have the same amount of wins and we need to win next week. But we'll get into that game preview next week when it's time to do it. But speaking of game previews and things that are awesome, Rams hosting the Detroit Lions. We got that game preview right after this break. It is Ram Showcase. Welcome back in. This is Ram Showcase. My name's Sheriff Joe Baggs. The 8-5 Detroit Lions heading our way, take on the 10-3 Los Angeles Rams. 1:25 p.m. kickoff time, SoFi Stadium. This game will be televised on Fox. Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, and Tom Rinaldi be knocking this one out broadcast-wise. The Rams are in the red zones for this one, so really solid area. We did anticipate that. This is your Fox game of the week. Even with Fox having the doubleheader this week, absolutely awesome that the Rams getting a very, very large area. A lot of people getting some soul and royal fed to your television screens, and you're welcome for it. That's pretty good stuff. For you bettors out there, -5.5 for the Rams, and then -270 on the money line. Your over/under sitting at 54.5. That means the books have this sitting roughly 30-24 in favor of the Rams, which is good news. Time to get into the game that is sweeping the nation. Your mom plays it. It's an absolute blast. All right, Pants Picks. The Rams back in the royal jerseys this week after 3 games in the white jerseys, and we got a full spread here, dude. Joe, me, I'm going with the bone. Peo going soul. We have Tuna going royal, and Rams House going soul as well. So we're all represented here. All pants are represented here on Ram Showcase. All right, we take a lot of pride in representing all pants. From all different backgrounds. And yeah, I'm thinking bone for this one. We haven't seen bone pants paired with royal, I think, more than one time this year. I think it was just San Fran game on Thursday Night Football that we saw that. So we'll see, man. But back in royal for this one. We only have royal games the rest of the way except for that one bone game, Monday Night Football in Atlanta. But we are done wearing whites. And if the Rams can stick with winning a bunch of football games, then maybe not seeing white anymore for the rest of the season. It's very possible, because if we get SoFi games, we'll probably be in royal for those, I would assume. And then I actually don't know. I think NFC is home this year, which doesn't mean necessarily anything. You can wear whatever you want. And in fairness, Rams have done well in Super Bowls when the combo is a white jersey on yellow pants. Just saying. But yeah, I'm not sure who is home. But either way, home gets to choose is what I'm saying there. So that could be maybe the only time we see white. Depends. Don't want to get ahead of myself here. Take a look at the history of this matchup. This is the 90th all-time meeting between these two teams. The Rams do lead the all-time series 45, 42, and 1. The Lions have won the last 2, but by a total of 7 points. A 1-point game and then a 6-point game. The Rams won the previous 2 versus the Lions before that, and that does, right now, we have Stafford versus Goff on the flippy flop of, that's a 2-2 situation. The most recent game between these two last season, week 1. Lions won that game in overtime 26-20. That is that 6-point win I was talking about. That other one, by the way, previous was a playoff game, 1-point win for the Lions. First ever game between these two came on September 10th of 1937. That was a 28-0 win by the Detroit Lions over the Cleveland Rams. A lot of stuff that we're looking at for this game, obviously. This is massive when it comes to NFC implications, when it comes to like NFC playoff implications and storylines. This game certainly matters to a lot of people. Packers, I talked about us, like I'm going to be side-eyeing that one. Well, the Packers are certainly side-eyeing our game too. They want to keep up with us, mainly because we're ahead of them in the standings and we're also playing their division opponents. So Packers fans definitely in on our game. You got Bears fans in on it. You've got Eagles fans in on it. You've got Seattle, San Fran, obviously. So lots of people keeping an eye on this football game for the Rams. Luckily, with that distribution map, they'll be able to watch it at home, which is cool. It's good for them, dude. That's awesome, man. Yeah, obviously, this is not just big for the teams involved is kind of my point. It's big for the entire NFC playoff picture. And we're also looking at a situation where, I mean, like the Lions, they had a major win last week against the Dallas Cowboys. That game was big for the Lions in their playoff chances. But a loss would just about end it. Like it doesn't eliminate them from playoff contention, but a loss puts them on the outside in a situation where you only have 3 games left. You're really running out of real estate there to try to come back and try to slip into the actual playoff picture. So a Rams win certainly helps our own sake to taking on and keeping the number 1 seed. But the Lions, I mean, they're in desperation mode. So this is certainly not a cakewalk, a gimme, anything like that. I feel like the Rams are a better team than the Lions, but I also feel like the Lions are a way more desperate team than the Rams. So that's kind of what happened against the Carolina Panthers. I mean, they came in way more desperate than us. They came in and with a great game plan. I don't want to discredit any of that stuff. I don't want to just call it bogus or anything like that. They played great, but it's another situation like that. We're playing against another cat team that could be, in a situation where they're fighting for their lives right now, and we're not. You know what I mean? So we're probably going to make the playoffs, where the Lions are sitting in a situation they need to string together some dubs if they want to keep playing. Not an elimination scenario, like I said. They are not mathematically eliminated. A loss does not put them mathematically eliminated from anything, but they are running out of runway to try to land this sucker, man. So, but yeah, very much still playing for playoff lives, obviously. Currently a 69% chance for the Lions to miss the playoffs. That is per playoffstatus.com. That is a website I've been using for a very long time. Peo uses that website as well, and he kind of reminded me of it. I used it years ago, and then I don't know what happened. Just went away, dude. It just went away. But really good resource if you want to check that out, playoffstatus.com. Really cool stuff. Kind of breaks into, you can set it up different ways and look at different pages where it's like wins do this, best case scenario, worst case scenario, all that good stuff. So really cool tool, but they are saying it's a 69% chance for the Lions to miss the playoffs entirely. The overall vibe I'm getting from the outside of the fan base and building that is the Detroit Lions is feels like their window's closing. It feels like their championship window may be a little bit more snug than initially thought. And we're looking at a situation where if they don't put it together this year, it kind of feels like, then we're really looking at the Detroit Lions as a potential round 2. Let's try to do what the potentially. And Brad Holmes, the GM of the Lions, was senior director of player personnel for the Rams senior director of scouting for the Rams for many, many years. He was with the Rams front office from 2001 until he got the job with the Lions just a few years ago. So he kind of understands the formula, which, I mean, just what it was a couple years ago. Holmes was already there, of course, but the Rams built a team with Matthew Stafford, went to and won a Super Bowl that team, that was only 4 years ago, dude. And we are a very, very different football team this go round. We don't have most of those players. I think it's 7 or 8 players from that Super Bowl year that we still have today. Not very many. It's not a lot of these guys, like Puka and all these guys, like no rings for these guys. This would be the time to go get one for guys like Puka. Like, you're going to end a Puka career with obviously he's got many, many years, but he's got to get a ring, or just like 7, I guess would be cool. However many he wants, he can certainly have. But it does feel like that from the outside of the building. It just kind of, the vibe of the Lions does feel like it might be coming to an end here. And it's so funny to think that the there's already been that little comment of like, oh, Jared Goff may want out if they don't make a big push this year. Where would he go? Well, what if Stafford retires? I don't think he'd come back. I really don't think he would want to. I don't think he would want to play for Sean McVay again. That's pure speculation. I don't have that insight, truthfully, from Jared Goff, but it just doesn't feel like something that would happen. And also, me personally, there's different guys I'd rather have, personally. I would rather try to trade for a Joe Burrow. Personally, I know a lot of people disagree with this, but I would rather go for Trevor Lawrence than Jared Goff again. So that's just my own thoughts there. But it does feel like that could be, looking at, Detroit Lions improvement, like era 2.0 or something like that. Because I don't know, man. It just doesn't really feel like they're the ones. So on the Rams side, big rebound from a week ago, obviously, but the road does not get any easier, at least quite yet. So we got two tough ones ahead of us, and then it does ease up a little bit. But the Rams do hold the number 1 seed in the NFC and still have the best odds in the NFC to skip Wild Card Weekend, which is absolutely awesome. Let's take a look at some milestones here. We are going to start with Matthew Stafford. He needs 4 touchdown passes to tie Big Ben for 8th most in NFL history. He needs 277 passing yards to tie Phillip Rivers for 7th most all time, who I guess isn't done now. What the heck, man? So I've been talking about this like all year of like, hey, he needs this much to reach Rivers. He needs this much to reach Rivers. He needs this much. Now he's under 300 yards and Rivers is just going to come back after 5 years. Damn it, man. So that's kind of hilarious. But also, I just feel like Phillip Rivers isn't going to, I feel like 277 is what Rivers is up on Stafford right now. I feel like by the end of the season, Stafford is ahead of Rivers. I'll just put it that way, all right? But that is so funny that Rivers, like, he gets close and he's like, nah, I gotta stack this up a little bit, man. Like, can't be getting beat like that. He is 925, Stafford does, to tie Big Ben for 6th most all time, who I'm pretty sure is still done and not coming back. But the way that the Steelers quarterback situation looks like, that may not even be true, which is crazy. Also, next up is Rodgers in 5th. So that does mean with Phillip Rivers returning that with 3 of the top 8, 3 of the top 8 quarterbacks in passing yards in NFL history are active right now. Golden era, dude. Golden era. Absolutely love that. Let's see here. Stafford needs 87 passing yards to tie Jared Goff for 4th most in Rams history. Kind of poetic that gets to happen in a game against Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. I do anticipate. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I do anticipate that that Matthew Stafford can throw for at least 87 yards this weekend. Currently 3rd in passing touchdowns in Rams history with 130. Everett has 142, and Roman Gabriel has 154. Currently 12th in interceptions with 48. 3rd in touchdowns, 12th in interceptions. Absolutely love that. Needs 1 touchdown pass to tie 0-1 Kurt Warner for 3rd most in Rams history in a single season. Needs 6 passing touchdowns to tie 21 Stafford and 99 Warner for most in a single season in Rams history. That's 41. His 4 interceptions right now would be tied for 130th most in a single season in Rams history. I just think that's cool. And note here that the most touchdowns by any Ram has ever thrown in a single season with only 4 interceptions. Do you have it? Do you know it? 2013, Sam Bradford. Well done. That was 14 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. That is the most in a single season that a Rams quarterback, most passing touchdowns with only 4 interceptions. I had oh man, I didn't write them down. Dang it, man. I had a bunch of others too where it was like for 5 interceptions, how the most was. We'll get into that next week. I'll make sure I write that one down. Kyron Williams needs 48 rushing yards to hit 1,000 on the season. Absolutely love that. That's always a big milestone, of course. And 1,000 even, if he were to only get 46 yards, would tie Willie Ellison for 35th most in a single season in Rams history. Williams currently sitting 38th with 952. 46th most carries in a single season right now as well. So looking pretty good, dude. Looking pretty good. Those averages real nice, man. Real nice. Devontae Adams needs 11 receptions to tie the Reverend Isaac Bruce for 15th most all-time in NFL history. Needs 18 receptions to tie Steve Smith for 14th all-time. That's a good one there. And needs 4 touchdown receptions to tie Larry Fitzgerald, 6th most all-time in NFL history. Same as last week, of course, as he didn't score last week. Needs 2 receiving touchdowns to tie 2021 Cooper Kupp. And 3 touchdown receptions to tie 51 Elroy Hirsch for Rams history, single season record there. So 3 would tie Devontae Adams with the Rams record for most receiving touchdowns in a season. I also, by the way, I saw a post that's been going around on social media saying that Devontae Adams has 20 receiving touchdowns this season. That is not true. He is at 14. The Rams record is 17. We would have talked about that. That would have been big news, right? Because that also would have been a while ago. And that would have been very impressive. So, not that Devontae Adams isn't impressive, but just a note there for you. Puka Nacua, he reached 13th in Rams history in receptions, passing Jim Benton. Nacua's 93 receptions right now would be tied for 8th most in Rams history in a single season, tied with 06 Torrey Holt and 07 Torrey Holt. Consistency, dude. Love that. Also, anybody who watches or pays attention to the PFF grades last week, Puka Nacua scored the highest single-game PFF grade for a wide receiver in their history. Rather exciting stuff there. Take a look at some former Rams who are now on the Lions. Very short list, as it's only one outside of Brad Holmes in the front office. I didn't find any players outside of Jared Goff. Okay, maybe I only put one name here, and then I said 3, so that's good. Well, 2 so far. But the offensive line coach and run game coordinator, Hank Fraley, dude. He played for the Rams. I want to say that was 2010. That may have been it. That may have been the only year. If it was 2, it was 09 and then 10. But I do remember Hank Fraley on that Rams offensive line. Very exciting stuff. And at least 2010. I feel very comfortable in at least that part of that information. So let's see here. That's it, though. Jared Goff, obviously, we know him. He's like top 4 in basically every Rams statistical passing category in their history. So obviously he was with the Rams 2016, number 1 overall, first draft pick with the Rams, returning back to Los Angeles. Terrible year 1 under Jeff Fisher. That's not a reasonable evaluation, though. He played for Jeff Fisher. No shade intended, but I realize it's there. And then Sean McVay comes in. Dude went to a Super Bowl, man. I mean, took us 2018 against the Patriots. He didn't play well or anything, but he went, and that's better than a lot of other quarterbacks to say that year. So, so I don't know, man. I think that's pretty good. But yeah, let's get into the matchup here. We're going Rams offense going against that Lions defense. So the Rams on offense are rocking with a top 4 unit, putting up about 382 a game. 17th ranked unit for the Detroit Lions, putting up about 343.5 that they give up. Passing the football, top 3 unit for the Rams, putting up a little under 250, while the Lions, 19th in the league, over 221 a game that they give up. And rushing the ball, averages helped out big time here last week. Top 10 unit now for the Rams, putting up about 124 a game, while top 10 unit for the Lions defense, giving up a little under 103 a game. Average points being put up over 29 a game for the Rams. That's tied for 3rd in the NFL. And the Lions giving up 23.4. That's 18th. Third down conversion rates. Rams pick it up 38.8% of the time at 17th. Going against the Lions that are tied for 11th, they give up 37.6% on their third down. So the Rams are tied for 2nd in yards per play. They are behind the Lions, but only by 0.1, so nothing too crazy there. 2 potent offenses is certainly what we're looking at here. But the Rams are 1st in touchdown passes by 8, so they've gotten a whole bunch there. The Rams are 1st in touchdown percentage, also by quite the margin. Rams are tied for 1st in fewest interceptions thrown. They are tied with the Packers with 4. The Packers have fewer attempts as well, meaning that the Rams' interception percentage is better. The Rams still have the fewest penalties in the NFL, and the Rams are tied for the fewest sacks allowed with 17. and that is tied with Denver and Seattle. Green Bay has 18, so they are right in there, doing a real good job protecting. Green Bay is just behind that, but tied for fewest. So Green Bay sitting in fourth place by themselves. But hey, these are all good teams. Obviously, you look at that. Rams, Broncos, Seahawks, Packers. Those are all teams that are continuing their season after Week 18. So that goes to show how big of a deal that really is. And Lions have given up 26 passing touchdowns, by the way. That is tied for fourth most in the NFL. So quite the opportunity going against that 19th ranked pass defense for the Lions. Big opportunity for the boys here in blue as Stafford, Devontae, Puka. We also get Tutu Atwell back this week. Sean McVay did confirm that he will be activated for this game. Whether that means he's actually seeing game action, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But either way, the weaponry for this Rams team going to be tough business for the Detroit Lions secondary that also just lost Brian Branch. So very, very good player. One of the better safeties in the NFL. So obviously him being out, certainly a benefit to the Rams. I don't root for injuries. We don't cheer for injuries. We don't celebrate them in any capacity. But they are a part of the game, and this did happen. It is something that is real, and his skill set is no longer out there on the turf. So they got to deal with it. That's it. That's how the world works. This is not just a contact sport. It is a violent sport. Injuries are damn near guaranteed. We don't root for them. We don't want them to happen. We don't celebrate them. But it is, unfortunately, just a part of the world that exists in this sport. So it's something that every team's got to deal with. Opposing players we're keeping our eyes on. We're going to start, obviously. Do I say obviously? Does that make sense to you? Who am I talking about here? It's Aiden Hutchinson. Kid is absolutely incredible. Pass rusher is not a joke. Our tackles have quite the business this week. And he's going to be rushing on Warren McClendon a lot, but he will slip over to the other side every once in a while. But big task for Warren McClendon, who has been a brick wall and has done an incredible job. But this is one of those situations, and I feel like we've got it in multiple different facets in this game of immovable objects, unstoppable force. See what happens, man. It feels like that situation plays out in multiple different areas. Hutchinson on Warren McClendon, certainly one of them. Next up here on the Lions side, we're going to go with linebacker Jack Campbell. Incredible hair out of Jack Campbell. Incredible player out of Jack Campbell, man. That guy flies around. He's all over the place. He's in the end of a lot of plays, which is certainly what you want out of one of the leaders of your defense. Obviously, a younger guy in Jack Campbell, so he is certainly going to be around for quite a while, wreaking some havoc. But hopefully he doesn't turn into one of those dorks who cuts his hair like a 1995 James Hetfield or something lame, That's very specific. And only I feel like 12% of people that watch this are like, that's pretty fun. Other people are like, who's James? You should learn. Next up here, edge rusher. We're going to go with Al-Quadin Muhammad. This dude, so a depth piece for the Detroit Lions and their pass rusher. If you look at their depth chart, he's actually listed as a third stringer. Dude had 3 sacks last week. He's absolutely unbelievable. He rushes the hell out of a quarterback, and he makes it a problem for your offensive line. So this kid is extremely talented. Him and Hutchinson being teamed up it's not as scary as BY and V8 or something, but it's getting pretty dangerous out there in Detroit with these guys. So that's absolutely awesome. My best one-on-one here, I'm going to go with Hutchinson versus the tackles. An upright Stafford is a good Stafford, and a upright Stafford is meaning that Warren McClendon and A.J. Jackson are having great days. I don't know if the middle pass rush, getting into that A-gap and stuff like that is going to be a problem for the Rams protection-wise. The center, the middle of our offensive line with Steve, Coleman, and Kevin, obviously really solid front unit there. And it's not that the tackles aren't solid. It's just that they kind of deal with different kinds of players. So I'm just not sure that I see the threat from the Detroit Lions up front in the center it nearly as much as it is on the outside, because obviously Aiden and Al-Quadin out here, crazy times, man. 3 to C for the Rams offensive side. I'm going to go with quarterback Matthew freaking Stafford, the assassin, man. This guy's absolutely unbelievable right now. 35-4 ratio. If that were to even out, could you imagine if it ends the season with 35 interceptions, dude? 35 touchdowns, 35 interceptions. You know the catastrophes that would need to happen? He'd probably get pulled. I mean, honestly, you throw 10 in a game, and it's like, all right, maybe get him out of there, you know? I don't think that's going to happen, obviously. Matthew Stafford is on quite the heater. He's playing unbelievable. Anybody else who's ever been in a situation in NFL history where they're looking at a 35-4 ratio, that's an MVP. I'll be honest, I don't really think it's as close as the books are even making it sound. I think that there's just no situation where you can be this early in December and know who your MVP is. I think that the books are kind of keeping other names involved just for drama purposes, because we kind of know that Matthew Stafford's MVP of this league. And sure, Drake May's having a good season. Sure, Josh Allen is having a really good season. Sure, Jordan Love's having a good season. Jonathan Taylor kind of fell off. I don't think that he's even going to be in that conversation. Not that he fell off, but like statistically speaking, it's clearly going to go to somebody else. But yeah, I mean, you got to keep the drama alive. You know what I mean? Like you got to keep Drake May's odds close to Stafford's, because if Matthew Stafford is sitting like minus 250 and everybody else is like plus 1,000 on the odds, it's like there's zero drama there. It's like, oh yeah, that guy's winning then. For sure. I do think that's at least a little bit of it. I'll be completely honest. I think you got to keep the drama alive, but Matthew Stafford is MVP. I mean, if he's not, that sucks, and I'm bummed out about it. I'm more just stoked for, not necessarily for us to be like, we got an MVP quarterback, anything like that, because we've had him, but for Matthew Stafford specifically, he's never finished higher than 8th in MVP voting. I think he deserves it, man. I really do. Next up, running back Blake Corum. We've been hyping Blake here on Ram Showcase for quite a while. Him and K-Dub are obviously such a sweet combo. But Blake Corum, man, he is really hitting a stride right now. And I don't know. It's not that because I love Kyren Williams, and I don't even necessarily think that Blake Corum is the better player, quote unquote. I think that he's been playing better, but I think Kyren is also just a different kind of style. Kyren is very much like, in a phone booth, you need 5 yards. Kyron's going to wiggle his way and get that. You need to find somebody to find a hole and then shoot it for 30 more yards down the field. That's your Blake. You know what I mean? So they've each got their place. And I've seen a lot of conversation of like, oh, we got to get this guy out of here, or we got to get this guy more reps. It's like that. It's like, no. It's working because they're both getting reps. They're being a combo together, which is what you need. But Blake Corum, obviously, unbelievable stretch right now that he is on. So obviously keep feeding your hot hand. Blake Corum's killing it. Keep giving him the football. That dude's great. And next up here, I'm going with the layup, man. Give me Puka Nacua. Oh, easy money, dude. Puka Nacua. I mean, what else is there to even mention about Puka Nacua, man? That's the guy. That is the guy. He does all the things. What do you need done? He can do it. It's kind of how I feel, man. Coming off that game he had last week, unfathomable, man. It's crazy. It's in a situation where, I mean, I don't anticipate necessarily that Puka Nacua is gonna push for offensive player of the year against guys like JSN and Jonathan Taylor and stuff like that. But it's certainly in a situation now where it's like, well, he does need to be at least thrown in there for conversation at the very least. JSN, unbelievable season for sure, but Puka Nacua, I mean, he's just not matched, man. So, and then also, I guess there is a little bit of like a spreading the love kind of energy in certain situations of like, if we're gonna win the Super Bowl and MVP and Offensive Player of the Year and Coach of the Year, like we can't do them all, you know. Vrabel's for sure Coach of the Year in my opinion, but that's not what this is about. Puka Nacua though, sorry about it, Lions secondary. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough weekend, man. You better eat your Wheaties that morning, man. It's a long day. You're putting in some overtime, right? You gotta be ready for that one, man. Keys to victory here on the Rams offensive side going against that Lions defense. Lions defense does not stick out in team stats really anywhere, but they have really solid individual players everywhere. For the Rams, just another game of controlling the ball and just having good balance, I think is going to be really critical for this one. Run game for the Rams really played a major part last week in the Rams being able to blow out the Arizona Cardinals. Blake and Kyron handling business, man, which is absolutely good stuff. And then, you just got to be able to use our weapons. Don't let Jared Goff and Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown and all these guys have control of the football more than you. You should be okay if you can pull that off. Flip over to the other side here. The Lions offense going against the Rams defense. Lions on offense, top 5 unit, putting up about 392.5. Rams, 13th ranked defense, giving up about 333 a game. Rushing the ball, top 5 for the, passing the ball, top 5 for the Lions here, putting up about 243 a game, while the Rams sit middle of the road, 211.5. Running the ball, the top 5 unit again for the Lions, 135.8 that they put up a game. Rams are 11th against the run, 103.5. Average points, this is where the Lions are top of the league, 30.3 a game, while the Rams give up 17.5. That's third. Third down conversion rates, 38.6 is how much the Lions pick up. That's 18th. And the Rams give up 36.2. That is 8th in the NFL. The Rams popped on defense last week for sure. Did a great job against what was a very potent offense and passing attack for the Arizona Cardinals entering the week. And sure, you can say whatever you want to say about Jacoby Brissett and the fact that he was a backup and stuff like that. And in fairness, they did not have Marvin Harrison Jr., who has, in his short history, done very well against the Rams. But Jacoby Brissett's been on quite the stretch where he's just been putting up crazy yards and doing a really good job. And the Rams were able to mess with his timing, mess with his rhythm a little bit. And, just really showed up big in a game where we needed it because obviously coming off of a loss, certainly needed that. But Rams defense is tied for 6th in yards per play, which is good news, being as close to the top there as you possibly can. And the Rams are getting out the fewest rushing touchdowns in the NFL with only 4, which brings us to the Lions, which is the fact that they are 3rd in the NFL in rushing touchdowns with 20. Another situation, unstoppable force, immovable object. How would you like to meet this weekend, man? So it does feel like the averages, obviously the Rams only given up 4 rushing touchdowns, 20 though on the Lions side that they've punched it in on the ground. That's a lot. Okay, so if they score 2-3 rushing touchdowns on the Rams, that doesn't mean our rushing defense sucks. Okay, we're going against a team that is good at that. Okay, they get paid too. They have a say in the outcome. Okay. It's not just us. It's not just the Rams world and everybody else is living in it, although it does feel like that sometimes. They all want to go to the Super Bowl as well, and they're trying to not let us go. So whatever that's worth to you. But running the football is certainly something the Lions are good at, something that the Rams are good at defending, though. Lions are off of that big Thursday night win versus the Dallas Cowboys, so a little bit of a mini bye for the Detroit Lions here. They are also tied for fewest giveaways with only 8 on the season, so that is certainly something. Protecting the football is, I think, why they're still fighting to play past Week 18, where we're at in the season right now. They also have the 3rd fewest interceptions in the NFL. Rams and Packers have 4, and the Lions have 5, so they're right there. Lions 2nd in touchdown percentage on pass plays. Rams are in 1st by quite the margin. And the Lions are 3rd in interception percentage. Some opposing players we're keeping our eyes on. We're going to start quarterback Jared Goff. Obviously, we know that he was a member of the Rams for some time and climbed up statistical categories in that world. But he's a Detroit Lion now. He has played more games as a Lion than he did with the Rams. So I would like if the conversation was just, knew that he's the Lions quarterback and not the former Rams quarterback, Jared Goff. I think he's just the Lions quarterback now. He's yours, guys. You have him and have for a while. I don't know why he's still talking about us. Well, and in fairness too, like that quarterbacks thing that I watched, that was the tipping point. That was the little breeze that pushed me over that edge, dude. Cause like it's already been a thing where it's like, okay, yeah, we've moved on. Like it's been years. What are we doing? And then I turn on quarterbacks and he's like, they didn't even want me. And it's like, dude, that was like 7. Shut up. Not 7 years ago. You get it. But like, it's like, dude, come on, man. Like, get over it, dude. Like it's whatever. You're in a place that loves you and supports the hell out of you. Stop worrying about that we didn't want you anymore, man. Get out of here with all that. But all that being said, Jared Goff in that 21 season, the Rams were in a position to win the Super Bowl, and Jared Goff wasn't. I firmly believe that. I think that Jared Goff is today a more Super Bowl ready, available, and potent quarterback than he was in 21. I think that we saw it in 18. In 21, he had not grown enough to do what he needed to do. Matthew Stafford is exactly what the Rams needed that season to push us over the edge. I don't think that if Stafford is the Rams quarterback that we make the Super Bowl. I don't even think we get past the Bucs in the playoffs. So I think that ultimately the way that I'm kind of looking at Jared Goff now is he is the best he's ever been today. He is the best talent-wise and skill-wise than he's ever been. He is better today than he ever was with the Rams, and I think that that's important to note, that it is now a different Jared Goff than we were familiar with in his benefit. I mean, in a way where it's a favor to him. So Jared Goff is, I think that he needed Detroit, and Detroit needed him. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about it. But he's playing good football, and certainly somebody we know how to stir up and mess with, at least historically speaking. So hoping to see some of that. Next up, we're going to go with running back Jahmyr Gibbs. This dude is unbelievable this year. Gibbs is doing it all. He had more receptions last week than Amon-Ra St. Brown. He runs. He lines up outside and goes one-on-one with corners. So Shula's certainly got his hands tied when it comes to personnel packages and stuff, because we could see a situation where we're going to see Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield and maybe Landman's on him in a zone kind of situation, but then he's going to slip outside and be the far outside receiver now and can do it against corners. So, I mean, the skill set from Jahmyr Gibbs is top tier. He's one of the better players in the NFL right now. He's just a guy that don't let him destroy your game and you should be okay. Next up, wide receivers, Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. JMO, I'm a big fan of. I think that his skill set is underappreciated. Amon-Ra St. Brown obviously gets plenty of the attention for good reason, but I do think that if I'm looking at this based on the Rams defense, what they do well at, what they are good at taking away, what they tend to have a little bit more trouble with, I'm way more worried about Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams than I am Amon-Ra St. Brown for this game specifically. Amon-Ra can certainly do some damage to you at any given point, but I think that for the Rams defense and what we present to offenses, Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs are our biggest threats. The best one-on-one that I'm looking at here is going to be Nate Landman versus Jared Goff, the brain battle. Obviously, we've seen that the Quentin Lake departure has certainly hurt the Rams in the secondary. Not enough to be like, we can't win a Super Bowl like this, but enough to notice that Quentin Lake is a very, very good player. I think that's ultimately. It's like we didn't crumble when Quentin Lake went down, but it did become obvious of like, he's really good. Actually, turns out plays slot, obviously safety, and can kind of slip into that almost pseudo linebacker-ish kind of role as well. So we kind of found that out. But Nate Landman, obviously he's been doing a great job of getting everybody in position, getting everybody settled, and just calling out the plays and everything. So the brain battle of Nate Landman versus Jared Goff, because we know Jared Goff, too, pre-snap, he does a very good job. So that brain battle is going to be fun. 3 to see on the Rams side here. I want to start with defensive tackle Kobe Turner. Did make well on his aggression last week from losing to the Panthers. He was able to get that sack against Jacoby Brissett. Anytime you get to see one of these, it's some good stuff, man. So love that. And Kobe Turner, man, he's just been, I feel like as the season's going on, every single week he seems a little bit more dominant, a little bit more run stuffy, a little bit more pass rushy. You know what I mean? Like he's just, I think that this year specifically, and right now, November, December, especially November, where we had one December game, that I'm seeing Kobe Turner get better every single week. And I love seeing that. If I can, like, very, very easily see, like, he is better today than he was then. He's better then than he was then. He's better then than he was then. That when you can see that very clearly, I'm a big, big, big fan of that. So Kobe Turner, who's already an incredible player, doing that right now, love to see it. Next up, safety Cam Curl. Cam Curl is all over the place. He's a tackling machine, and solo tackles for Cam Curl like crazy. Did get that sack last week. Gotta love to see that. But Cam Curl slipping more into that Lake kind of vibe, but he's all over the place. Very sure tackler. I love watching Cam Curl make a tackle. And he also just, big presence on the defense. Gotta love it. And next up, my dude Nathan, man. Give me Nathan Landman as obviously getting his first interception as a member of the Rams last week, his second of his career. That was absolutely awesome. Yeah, man, that's Landman. The improvements that Landman has made to the Rams defense cannot be understated. And I know that he's creeping up there in tackles. I'll have to look at the numbers because I know that I want to say that Bobby Wagner beat James Laurinaitis' record a couple years ago, the 22 season when Bobby Wagner was here. But I'll have to confirm that. We'll dive into that stat next week. But Nate Landman certainly racking up the tackles, and dude's all over the place. Keys for the Rams here on defense, mix the rush against Goff. We know that pressure can throw him off for sure, but we don't want to let him know where it's coming from. Stunts and late blitzes, I think, are going to be kind of your friend this week because if he takes the snap and he's looking this way and then he glances this way and Cam curls right here, we know what Jared Goff's going to do, and it's very good for us, okay? Gibbs also, like I said, he's unbelievable, man. He may very well have a big game, all right? Jahmyr Gibbs could legitimately have a big game. That very well may happen. I almost would call it likely, but maybe not, because I also really like our defense. He's just a guy that can do it at any point against anybody. But if Goff can't find a rhythm, I think we should be okay. If Gibbs is the one beating us and Goff can't figure anything out, then I think we're going to be okay. And my biggest one here is going to be run game. Rams run defense has been absolutely awesome, especially when it comes to points, but the Lions run game has been absolutely awesome, especially when it comes to points. They put third in rushing touchdowns, the Rams first in rushing touchdowns on defense. Red zone running for the Lions offense is going to be quite the battle, strength versus strength. Absolutely fired up about it. We'll see what the Lions game plan is when they get into the red zone because, I mean, as much as they're good at it and they've run 20 touchdowns, I mean, you get into the red zone, there is no room for you to run against this Rams team, and that's when the Rams are a lot more aggressive as well. So they're attacking, hitting gaps and stuff like that, which is exactly where that 4 rushing touchdowns come from. Not a lot of people are able to run in the red zone against the Rams defense. We'll see if Detroit is. Big old football game going on this weekend, though, as the Detroit Lions coming to town, taking on our Los Angeles Rams. 1:25 p.m. kickoff time on Fox with Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Rinaldi on the call. Large area. You should be able to catch this one at home if you are not going to the game. I know, I believe Tuna will be there. This was one I was considering going to, but couldn't swing it this year. I'll tell you, too, the reason that I'm not going to any this year is because next year is going to be a very, very big one. I'm looking at going to Arizona. I'm looking at going to LA for at least one. I don't remember the rotation if the Rams are in Vegas next year or if it's another 4 years out, but the first time the Rams are in Vegas, I want to go to that. And then the Rams are in Denver, too, which is just an hour up the road from my current apartment. So I'll certainly be at that. So that's why I'm not going to any this year, is because next year is going to be such a big one. So that's the thought process there. Let's see here. Tuna and the Sheriff will be obviously back on that. We're Monday, Wednesday, Friday live, 7 a.m. LA time on the First and Tuna Podcast YouTube channel and the Rams Showcase Facebook page. I'll be live on the Rams Showcase YouTube and Facebook page ahead of the game this weekend as well. So check me out there. We just chat Rams. It's pretty loose. We don't really have a plan or anything like that for those. We just kind of chit-chat and stuff like that. It's an absolutely awesome time. So make sure you join me for that. But yeah. Rams, Lions. What a freaking game this weekend that we got, dude. Fan quesos, that's on the outside of this break. It is Ram Showcase. Welcome back in, Ram Showcase. My name's Sheriff Joe Baggs. We're going to be getting into our fan quesos here. I do obviously want to give everybody a good answer to your quesos and all that stuff. I will say that I've got quite a few, so we do need to kind of go quickly through them. But again, I want to give people good answers, but it's like my weird battle where I love doing fan quesos. This is one of my favorite segments that I even have. But it's difficult when I get a lot. But that's kind of the point, is to get a lot. So I'm in like such a weird conundrum here where it's like I don't know what to do. I might have to like start reading them through and see if I've got doubles and stuff that can be combined and stuff like that. But I got a full-time job too, man. It's hard out here, man. I'm the only one that's working here. They won't hire anybody else. It's not in the budget. All right, heading over to the Facebook page. First few here come from Gary. When we've heard Goff complain about the way LA let him go, how will the fans respond to him back in LA? That's so funny, dude. I think that they'll be fine. I think that there will be some boos, but I think there will be some claps. I don't think that we're the kind of. I'll say it this way. I hope we're not the kind of fan base that would trash one of our former guys. I understand that the like how my emotions are on Jared Goff and stuff like that, but I wouldn't boo him myself. I'm not a booer though. I'm not. That's bad sportsmanship, dude. Like, I don't know about that. I'll boo a ref. They're not even real people. Next one here from Gary. What would be the best way for the Rams to stop the Detroit run game and force Goff to beat them? I would say, actually, I want to see some creative blitzing in this game, actually. I think that if you can fill some gaps in some creative ways, yeah, I think that that's going to be a way to force Goff. Yeah, you're absolutely right, though. I mean, if you can stop the run early and also put up points, like if the Rams can go into halftime up by like 14, then I'm not worried about the run game anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like now it's go ahead, Goff, beat us. Go ahead, Jared. I'm your Huckleberry, dude. Yeah, that's the vibe I was getting. Say when. Anyway, next one here from Gary. We have two very important games in a short window. Which one do you think is more important for them to win? Obviously, we want to win them both. I absolutely agree with you. Obviously, we want to win them both. That's the goal. That is the plan. That is the intention. But if you had to only win one, you want to beat Seattle. Detroit's probably not going to make the playoffs. Obviously, an NFC loss is certainly a hurt in your situation. But say the Rams lose this week and the Seahawks beat the Indianapolis Colts, which I'm guessing they should. They've got the freaking Pepperidge Farm guy playing quarterback now. But I think it's a situation where if the Rams were to lose this game, the Seahawks get to 11 wins. The Rams are still at 10. We can get to 11 wins with them next week, but we would have 2 wins over them, so we would be ahead. So I think it's I don't want to say an easy answer because it's always kind of a difficult question. To say like which one would you rather lose, but I just think too that like emotionally you don't want to lose to the Seahawks if you had to pick one. So Detroit though, like, yeah, they're not. It's kind of like losing to the Panthers. It's like that. It's like, yeah, they're a really good team, but like, are they? Burn. Anyway, moving over here to the other Facebook page. These few here come from Edwin. Emphasis on the win. Says, I can't believe how fast this NFL season's gone by this year. Preaching to the choir, dude. I remember saying this in like week 2, and it was like, guys, it's going to go so fast. I know we were only playing the Titans this week, but it's going to go by so fast. We're going to be talking about how fast it went. Check out Edwin. Talking about how fast it goes. Says, I'm trying to enjoy every minute of it, as you should. Says, who in our defense has impressed you the most this year, and what has been the play or plays that has led you to choosing said player? Impressed me the most this year is Emmanuel Forbes Jr. He's in almost any of his interceptions, I think you could put into that. I think that I was kind of hoping that Sean McVay wasn't, blowing smoke by talking about Forbes all training camp, and he wasn't. I mean, Forbes is absolutely unreal this year, so I'm fired up about him. I would say that I'm most pleasantly surprised for Emmanuel Forbes. Because, too, I mean, the situation is like if he wasn't going to pop and really, show up big this year, we got a billion other corners, dude. Like, then you have Akello and Kobe or DK's back now. And we know that the Rams like DK, so there's a lot of situations there. But I would say Forbes for sure is and BY. All the conversation was all Jared Verse, and then BY comes in and has the most sacks right now in a single season since Aaron Donald with 11. I mean, we know that the numbers that Aaron Donald used to put up, but dang, man, like that's really impressive. Number 2, our O-line has been dominating lately. What do you think, or what do you believe that has been the key to their success? We have a massive offensive line. I think that their size certainly helps, but I think that continuity is the biggest thing there. I think Coleman Shelton is such a massive improvement on the at the center spot. And I know a lot of people really liked Bo Limmer. I understand it, man. He played great last year. For a 6th-round Arkansas pick to come in and need to start all season and it go that well, that's unbelievable. Simply put, though, he missed 2 calls that cost the Rams their season at the very end in a very, very important situation. And Coleman Shelton, I don't think Anybody's capable of that, obviously, but Coleman Shelton has been a massive, massive, massive improvement. And then you just have the continuity. We're not missing guys. And then when we are, like Rob Havenstein, McClendon, who's been around for years, slips in. It's like, that's awesome. I'm cool with that. I have no problems at all. But continuity for sure. Number 3, the Colts are bringing back Phillip Rivers to run their team. If you could bring back a retired Rams player from the past 5 years, fully healthy, for the remainder of the season, who would you bring back? AD. Easiest question of all time. You can't pick a... Okay, there was a stipulation on that I did miss. I cannot pick AD. That's funny. That retired. I mean, I want to say Witt, but I also don't feel like we need an offensive lineman right now. Give me Eric Weddle, dude. I know he was only with us for 4 games, and they were all playoff games, but I'm here for it, man. That's awesome. Let's see here. That's so funny, dude. Number 4, if you were a guest on a Rams reveal and you had 2 questions you could ask, who would you want as your guest, and what are the 2 questions? That's tough, man. I'm actually gonna screenshot that and try to remember. Will you please remind me that I wanted to answer this? I just don't have time to think about that. I need to think. That's a brain one. That's a brain one, man. It says go Rams, go Joe, go Edwin. Heck yeah, man. Next here, coming from Single T Bretts. I want to preface this with, I know you and you could care less about where the Rams play like myself. All right, I like that you preface that because that was certainly going to be the first thing out of my mouth with whatever you were going to say next. Probably. It says, we were never involved in the moving politics of it. You're absolutely right. So the LA versus St. Louis people, this isn't for you. All right, guys, take a minute. But subjectively speaking, are you more partial to the Rams unis from the 2000s, 2015, or the more current LA ones, the logo as well? I certainly like the old, what they refer to as the snail logo. I loved that logo. I don't dislike the LA logo now, but that was certainly my favorite, personal favorite. That other one, yeah. So the uniforms I like a lot more now, but I think that the logo, if you did the snail logo, and that's not a derogatory term, if you do the snail logo in these colors, I don't think it would look right. So almost a mix. But if I had to just put that all aside and just pick one, I think I go with the St. Louis, actually. I liked it, man. It was classy. I like that. I don't know. I think my answer probably changes on the day. Right now, in this particular moment, I'm going to say that I like the old stuff, the navy and gold. But I think that's mostly because that's what they looked like when I became a fan. You know what I mean? And I think that's important to think about. That, like, when I fell in love with football and the Rams, that's what they were wearing. So it just kind of sticks with me, man. That's why, like, Mark Bulger's one of my all-time favorite players. He was my quarterback when I fell in love with football and fell in love with the Rams. Steven Jackson will always, 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 always be one of my top 3 players. You know what I mean? Just because of that. Torrey Holt up there as well. And then, like, your James Laurinaitis, your Janoris Jenkins, Trumaine Johnson, TJ McDonald. Who else in there, man? There's so many that I'm just big fan of. But yeah, I think that's kind of part of why I would answer that way, is just my timing of falling in love with the Rams. And I think that's why a lot of Rams fans hate this new stuff, is because when they fell in love with the Rams, it was simpler. It was your royal jersey with the horn on the sleeve, yellow numbers, yellow pants with the white stripe, like it was just so basic. And I think that's why I think a lot of people dislike this, because it's almost that they like teased that it was like, oh, we're doing old school stuff again, but it's not. And so I think that's why people don't like it, which isn't your question, but I think it's relevant. Next one here, coming from Gary, a different Gary. If the Rams hoist the Lombardi, do you expect Stafford to pull an AD and go out on top, or do you expect one more season regardless? I'm going to be completely real with you right now, Gary. I don't understand why anybody's talking about Stafford being just done after one more year or anything like that. What indicators have we gotten that Stafford's just on his way out? Any at all? Am I missing something? Did I miss something, man? You have Phillip Rivers over here, the crypt keeper. He's out here playing quarterback still. You got Aaron Rodgers still out here, and Stafford's 37, and I just don't feel like that's the conversation yet. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Rams win the Super Bowl and he calls it. Something to me feels like he plays like another 3, though. I don't know, man. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I just don't think that the Stafford has a foot out the door topic is even relevant. I don't even think he's thinking about it, and that's why I don't think it's a relevant conversation for Rams fans, because I don't even think he actually thinks about it. Whenever he's asked in any situation of like, what if this were to be it? He's always just like, I'm feeling good, man. Like, I'm just playing football. I'm just having a good time this year with these guys, and I'm having fun. I really don't think he's thinking about it. And also, there is something to be said about the age of 16 on YouTube. We gotta fly. I don't think that it's something he hasn't said or anything like that, but it is something that a lot of players say where they want their kids to remember playing football and doing that stuff. Like, so if you give it another 3 years, all of his daughters are now three years older and would remember dad playing for the Rams. You know what I mean? Like, that's super exciting stuff. So I think that could be part of it. I know that there has been plenty of people that have felt that way of like, I wanted them to remember me playing. I wanted them to remember dad, the football player. And I don't think it's impossible that Matthew Stafford's in that situation. And I think that he and Kelly, I mean, it's a great duo, man. I mean, they're doing good stuff out there, and it's Stafford's playing like he's playing now. I mean, he's clearly not even close to the end physically. So I don't know, man. I don't know why that's such a conversation, but I'll say this: I don't expect him just to call it if he wins. That's all. Because I think if you win MVP and a Super Bowl and then call it, it's like, well, you still have it in the tank, dude. Like, clearly. Let's see here. This one come from Paul on the YouTube channel. Do you think having Tutu back will help this offense much? I mean, I want it to, man, but I just don't. I don't, because I don't think we really use him. I think that his skill set is capable of helping us on offense. But the amount of 13 personnel we're using right now, I'm not sure where he fits. I'll be completely honest. I think that we have a way to use him, and I don't think we do it. It's like Tavon Austin, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, yo, we get to see Tavon in a Sean McVay offense? No. Sean McVay has no idea how to use a player like that. That's why Deshaun Jackson bounced after a few weeks. I think he kind of could tell, oh, this isn't my offense. I'm not going to have just every 7 weeks where I can get 70 yards, and then the rest of the time I'm getting a target a game. Like, I'll just leave, and I think that's that position, that speedster guy that we all think that McVay wants in his offense. I don't think he doesn't use them, man. So to answer your question, no. I would like it to, though. Next one here from Payo Time. Earlier in the year, you often mentioned that the Rams' best football is ahead of them. Nailed it. When do you think the Rams started playing their best football, and can they still get better? Absolutely. Upon reflection on the season so far, I really think that the Jags game in London is when the Rams started playing their best brand of football this season. I do think that the D-line is ready for some playoff football to reach some O-lines. Thanks. Love the show. Dude, love your show. To answer your question here, I think Jags definitely is the game because that's where the Rams pulled out the 13 personnel in a big way, and that's been different ever since. But in a more realistic sense, as far as heading into the playoffs, I think that we're going to look at last week as the real start of it. After the Carolina Panthers lost, then it's like, okay, stop messing around. And then the Arizona game, then it's like, all right, yeah, we're just rolling now. So that's kind of where I would go with that, I think. And yeah, I do think that they can get better. I really do. I think that there's Devontae Adams on Rams Revealed talked about that he and Stafford clearly still have some growth to go. So yeah, we can certainly get better. Rams house, whose house? Would any one of us have an above 500 record in pants picks if the Rams randomly released an additional 3 pants? Absolutely not. First of all, I'm not at 500, but I have done well in the last few weeks, so whatever. But no, we would be terrible. It's just a guess anyway, so it doesn't matter. I don't know. Let's see here. If Omar Spates was a candy, what candy would he be? That's a good question. I say that like every time. It's the same question, but with a new person. I'm just like, that's a good question. Let's see. Oh, it's funny. Let's see, what candy would Omar Spates be? I'm feeling 3 Musketeers, dude. Like definitely not anything that's like It's like a big one for sure. Like you see a Three Musketeers and you're like, yeah, those roll. Or maybe a Milky Way. I also get those confused in my brain. I think secretly they're the same thing. Tell me the difference. Tell me I'm wrong. But he's one of those, all right, because like you get and I mean this in the most normal way possible. You get the peanuts in the Snickers bar with Nate Landman, all right. Omar Spates is a little bit more fluid, a little bit more smooth. Nougat. Those get so weird. All right, Payo time. See where I'm at here. Could you give your opinion? Yeah, man, I think Crunchwrap Supremes are the best Mexican food item. I don't really believe that. I'm sorry. Can you give your opinion? Is it just me, or does the Rams versus Lions rivalry since the trade seem to have cooled off since the Rams and Lions last played? Don't get me wrong. I love the breakup bowl narrative, but I feel like among fans, both Lions and Rams fans alike, it's not so much it's not as intense leading up to the game as I type this queso. Maybe that changes closer to game time. Thanks. Love the show. Love your show. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It has certainly lost its luster of like the trade. The teams are trading. Stafford against his old team, Goff against his old team. Like it's certainly faded off. And it also doesn't help this year that the Lions are looking to fight for the playoffs still. If they were sitting where the Packers are sitting right now, I think that this game would be very much in that conversation. Favorite Sean McVay moment that didn't occur in a football game? Ooh, this is from Rams House, by the way. That's a good one, man. I'm trying to think of stuff that he's done that's not football. That's like trying to ask one of my coworkers, is like, name a time where Joe wasn't talking about football. They'd be like, like. I had to do today. I said we had to do a fun fact about ourselves. We did our Christmas lunch today or whatever, Christmas thing, and there was newbies there that like at this other company. Doesn't matter, but their question was, it was like, just say your name and whatever, something about you and whatever. So I was like, my name is Joe. I said my position in my company and all that stuff. And it was like, I have a cat named Carl. He's my best friend, and go Rams. That was it. And that's the fun fact. Go Rams. Heck yeah. What was the question? What are we doing? Sean McVay moment. I got to like blow through these, and I'm like just wasting all the time. God, that's such a tough one, dude. I don't even know what not on a football field, just not on a football field, right? Not during a football game. Every week, the Sean McVay show. I'm just going to go with that right now because I can't think of something. Love that show. It's absolutely great. I love that insight. And JB does a really good job of like not ignoring the bad. I think that's one thing I love about that show from JB's perspective. Is that he's like, hey, we lost last week. What are we feeling? I love that. Favorite Roger Saffold moment. You put Roger Stafford, but I can read between the lines. Favorite Roger Saffold moment. Ooh, actually, I'm going to go with Hard Knocks 2016. I think it was episode 1. Maybe it was episode 2, because episode 1 was all about the move. But episode 1 or 2, where Roger Saffold, they go to Muscle Beach on Venice. And he was talking to, I think it was William Hayes. They were out there working out and stuff. And the part that got me, man, was just Saffold's little comment of like, he's like, man, it's like, yeah, they won't show up if we don't win. It's like, dude, they're not going to come watch a bad football team. They'll just be like, nah, I'm just going to go surf instead. Like, there was something about his delivery of that was just like really, really funny to me, man. And then he in that was really good. They kind of featured him in that Hard Knocks. And then he was also featured on that, what's it, Football in Hollywood or something like that. It's one of them reality shows on a channel that I would never watch, but it was about the Rams. So Chase Reynolds gave me a friggin' moment in that one. So we're sidebarring all over the place when I said I need to rush. That's so funny. Classic Bags. But it was football in Hollywood or whatever, and Chase Reynolds, they're all like at a party somewhere, Aaron Donald's house or something like that, maybe. And they're like all putting like something in the middle, like, hey, we're doing this or whatever. And Chase Reynolds goes, fire! I still do that to this day. When somebody is in a group, I'll come in and go, fire! And then I was looking at, like, it's a thing I took from Chase Reynolds a long time ago. Irrelevant. That's so funny. Those shows that first year That was crazy, man. We got a lot of inside looks there. That was fun. Next one here. Lions have historically been a team under Dan Campbell to play a team 1 week, and then that team loses the next week. People say that it's because of the grits and the physicality the Lions play with. With that said, are you concerned that could happen with this game? Absolutely, but only because it's Seattle and they're a good football team. I don't think that if the Rams lose to the Seattle Seahawks, it has anything to do with what the Detroit Lions do to us this weekend. I'll say that. GP Shadow, what would you guess is going on behind the scenes with Jarquez Hunter? This is a killer question. And ultimately, I want to preface my answer with saying I don't know. But what I would guess is that there's aspects of the offense, whether that's run blocking, whether that's picking up different gaps, whether that's, maybe catching the ball. I don't know. But I would say probably blitz pickup. That's typically why running backs don't stick around for the Rams is blitz pickup. So I would assume that, but also let's not get bogged down into it. I don't think it's actually very telling for us because even though it has happened in certain settings, the Rams don't use their rookies as much as other teams. We've seen it. Obviously, Josiah Stewart's a little bit of an outlier this year. We've seen it. Mump gets action this year and stuff like that. But yeah, we just, historically speaking, under McVay, we don't see a lot. Muad'Dib, what's up, dude? What player would you want to smell like the most? What? These fan cases get so weird, dude. I can confidently say no clue. I don't know what any of these guys smell like. Based on my life experience, I'm going to just guess that Quentin Lake smells good. Take that for however you will. I don't know what to do with that information. Next one here from Rams House. To make this queso harder, way to go. You cannot pick Puka, Kobe, or Steve. Take age and math out of the equation. All right, gone. If you were to give your niece permission to date, okay, that makes more sense, to date one Rams player on the roster right now, who would it be? I can't say Puka. I can't say Kobe. I can't say Steve. Because I also got to think the consideration that this is also a person I may be able to hang out with sometimes at holidays. Give me Blake. Give me Blake Corum, man. I don't know what it is. I just feel like that makes sense. But also, my niece is 11, so I don't really want to do that. She's not going to date for another 30 years. So, what are we doing out here? Tua Jess. Let me know if I'm saying any of that wrong, or if I just should call you Jess. I don't know. With 4 games left, Nate Landman can break James Laurinaitis' combo tackles for record of 142. Info. Whoa. Hello. I was doing this earlier. You want to do my notes for me? Landman currently has 108. He would need to average roughly 9 combined tackles per game to break it. Do you think he'll break the record? And for pants picks, I'm going Saul. Yes. I love that. It's certainly possible if he only needs about 9. I'm going to do the math for next week, and we'll kind of dive into that. But it's certainly possible. But I thought also that Bobby Wagner had the record. I'm on to you. We'll get into that one again next week, too. Rams adjacent question. If the Colts beat either the Seahawks or the Niners, how thankful should the Rams fans be to Rivers, a former Rams Brett Rippon at quarterback? Brett Rippon's not playing quarterback for the Colts. I realize he just got brought onto the active roster, but it ain't happening. And if it does, I'm sorry, Colts fans. I'm so sorry. And if he does also, he's not beating anybody, so irrelevant question. But yeah, we should be very thankful if they were able to pull it out. Come on, Philly Riv. Why our defense been struggling for the past 2 weeks? Did Panthers ruin our defense? That's a question come from Porter. No. Panthers did not ruin our defense, and also defense played great last week against a very good offense. So I actually don't know what you saw last week that you didn't like. I'll be honest. Let's see here. If you went to the Rams-Lions games, would you boo Jared Goff? GP Shadow. No, I would not. Rams House. Seer. Gotta fly through this. I'm running out of time. My battery light's blinking and stuff. This might disappear at any moment. And if it does, visual's gone. I'm sorry. My other batteries are charging. I don't know what to do. I think that I know the answer to this question, but I'm asking it anyway. This is from Rams House. You get permission to be Aubrey Pleasant's special assistant. The job is demanding, but it pays well, and you get to be around the team / Aubrey all the time. Do you take that job, or would you take being the voice of the Rams without getting paid? Let's assume Aubrey Pleasant stays with the Rams until he retires, or you would get to be the voice of the Rams until he retires. What do you choose? I'll say this. that last little addition there of I get to be the voice of the Rams only until Aubrey Pleasant retires changes my answer to I would just be his special assistant at that point. Voice of the Rams, I would do that unpaid for the rest of my life. Absolutely. I would totally be JB Long and get a second job or something like that, Uber on the weekends to make ends meet. That's the dream job. I would do whatever I gotta for that. That's part of why this exists, actually. So that would be, I mean, that's the dream job, obviously, but that little addition there of if Pleasant retired, then I would have to leave that spot. That's what I would just be like, oh, then just put me with the team. Put me with the team. Put me in the trenches, dude. Put me in here with the chaos, man. I want that. So that's good stuff. That's a good question, man. I almost feel like I should dive into it a little bit further, but I'm scared right now. I'm going to run out of memory on my memory card and battery. So that's fun. We're going to get out of here, man. Thank you for your fan quesos. Thank you to everybody who dropped those. I do appreciate the heck out of you guys. Big old football game going on this weekend. Lions coming to town, taking on our Rams. This rivalry used to have a little bit more juice, as Payo Time did allude to, but still feeling pretty good about this one nonetheless. Still some high-flying action to be had on Sunday under the SoFi. Under the SoFi lights? Do we call it that when it's a 1:30 kickoff game? I don't know. Make sure you follow Tuna and the Sheriff. Check that out. Ram Showcase Facebook page, First Tuna Podcast YouTube channel, and also my pregame live stream, Ram Showcase Facebook page and YouTube channel. Make sure you follow me on socials. That's at Ram Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Bags, ramshowcase.com. But that is going to do it for me. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. This has been Ram Showcase on Sports War Radio and the Fan-Sided Network. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching, and go Rams.